So our Area 3 project is about voter education in Arkansas, and the problem we seek to address is the lack of voter education in our public schools for high schoolers specifically. So our solution to this is to try to help create an unbiased education about our state and national legislatures and how to vote in our required social studies class that all students take, such as our ninth grade civics class. So in our curriculum, we want to include things such as how and where to register to vote, as well as the basic requirements to be able to vote. And this is an example of the registration form we would like to include in the curriculum to help familiarize students with what it will entail. So these are the voting methods.
Yes, for the voting methods, you have either the normal method that most people do. You show up at your local poll with a form of identification to cast your ballot, or you can do the absentee voting method, which is if you're unavoidably absent during the time of election, then you have to request at least a week in advance before the election, and then send in your ballot by the election day. And there's also the early voting method, for which you don't need an excuse. You can just simply vote early before the normal election without an excuse. And then in the next slide, we show a picture of an example of a ballot, and that's just what it should look like in the picture. And then moving on, there's education on candidates.
Our curriculum aims to answer the question of why a student should vote, so we plan to include information about candidates and specific committees that these candidates serve in their state, because these actions are important and directly affect students and their families. The important dates, especially with vote by mail this year, it will be important in our curriculum to include relevant dates for students to understand the importance of preparing for election day, and especially if they're going to vote by mail.